stunning. I didn't think we would be able to. And as soon as you touch it, obviously it will stop. Well, it used to be a flat piece of metal. It was banged into shape. That's the reason why it has that vibration and organized sound. And did you experience these?
So I think that's now, if you talk about having a project and changing.
Being so patient, now there's a method to my madness. I thought it was worthwhile to go around to each table so people could experience it. Because now, I would like you all to draw the sound of that singing bowl. You get out of your mind, that's all. You didn't. I didn't bring it over here. Oh.
But you all did. And use these different markers. Hopefully there's enough paper on the table. Everybody could hold up their drawing so everybody could see it, and you can compare it how similar. Isn't that extremely creative? Yes, we agree. So, does anybody have any questions about creativity? For example, how can I be more creative
Should creativity be slightly focused? Does it have to be very generalized? Don't you think creativity needs to have some kind of a focus when we are dealing with any individual as such? Otherwise, we could find creativity even in the smallest thing that would be there.
I believe that creativity just can arise quite spontaneously. Or it can also be very focused and planned. How can I be creative today with the children with the curriculum that I have? So you're handed a curriculum by Beaconhouse that is a structure. But there's something that you can do about presenting that structure to the children that can be a little bit more creative than what is put on a piece of paper. By thinking about it a little bit more. For example, I asked you to draw the sound of the Tibetan singing bowl. And so that's like stepping out of your mind a little bit because people don't draw sounds. When I went to Reggio Emilia in Italy, I'm sure you've heard of Reggio Emilia, went into a classroom and the teacher went outside and brought in a big rosemary plant from the garden in a pot, and she asked the children to draw the smell of rosemary. Now, if I asked you to draw the smell of a good curry, you know, that's really stepping out of your mind, isn't it? Because it's not something you're contextually used to. And one of the things about creativity, quite often, is your mind gets in the way. Your mind starts setting up little rules. Oh, I shouldn't do that, I can't do that, I'm not really creative. My answer to all of that is you have to have faith. And, for example, trust your hand. Don't trust your head, trust your heart. If you use it that way, if you have heart and faith in what you're doing, in whatever area, it can be extremely creative. But as soon as the mind enters the picture, that's where things start to get a little bit put into a box, tick boxes, and I shouldn't, I can't, the curriculum doesn't allow me to do this, I'm not very good with it, but it's all in your head. So if you can get, I like when they ask me to do this workshop, again, I'll reinstate it. Out of your mind, out of the mind. You know, I can go one step further, out of your mind, into your heart, that's the only place to be. Does that make sense?
Can we enhance creativity or is it natural?
I have to come over there.
Air conditioning is something hard to...
Can we enhance creativity or is it natural inclination?
Can we enhance creativity, or is it a natural inclination of the child? It's both. It's both, because you have to scaffold the child.
The child needs you to scaffold them. Because, yes, they would like to paint. For example, there was a child who didn't want to get dirty. He didn't want to get paint anywhere near his fingers, so he wouldn't touch a paintbrush. And the reason why was his parents always kept him tidy. You know, whenever he ate, his hands got wiped, his mouth got wiped, not to get anything on your clothing. So when he comes to a school and there's paint, I can't touch that, I'm going to get dirty. So what I did was, before long, children that were like that, you know, I had one of these handy to make them feel secure. And the next thing, they were using two brushes, one in each hand. And then this other child, I can see him now, Peter, would never touch a paintbrush. And I did a creativity day where we had inside and outside activities. And I put roller trays out with rollers. And then I put trays of paint that they can actually not only roll in, but stand in and get their feet colored. And Peter, who never touched a paintbrush, went crazy with a roller. He said, "Can I paint the wall?" "Yeah, why not? It's watercolor, the rain will wash it off." And so Peter couldn't stop rolling paint all over the building. So it's a matter of helping them to develop their own creativity. The way I spoke earlier about mixing colors. It's a shame to have children create. They love it. They don't know any better. But there's so much self-esteem if you can teach them how not to contaminate the colors. And children start to learn not to do that. And one of the things about that is there's learning outcomes. For example, if you bring a green leaf in from outside and ask them to match the color, they will probably be fulfilling all the learning outcomes, because it just uses so many different mental facilities to be able to do that, because they have proportions. And then I found some children making a color, and then somebody would come over and say, "I want that color." I said, "You can have it, but you'll have to ask her how did she make the color." And then you heard the word constructivism before. I'll put socio-constructivism, where we learn from each other, and children can learn from each other. They can learn their creativity from each other. How did you do that? Quite often, one of the things I do when I'm working with young children is I make paper airplanes, and they love, and that And the reason why is it develops fine motor skills that enables them to do early writing and to use a paintbrush, etc. Just by learning to do those folds with the tip of your finger. And there's some people, some girls, some boys can do it better than others. And one day, you know, I was talking to a parent, a child came up, Cha-Cha David, can you please make me an aeroplane? And I said, well, you know what, I'm a little busy now, but if you ask Debbie over there, she's really good at it. Ask her to show you, and Debbie will show you. And so I always was encouraging children to help other children that could do it. Well, why should you do it? So I'm sure you'll find there's certain children in your classes that are very, very capable. You can use them as your assistant. Does that sound good? Are you going to go back and try this, I hope? And as far as mixing colors, I should share this with you because it's quite easy. If you get old margarine tubs, little plastic tubs, so you put, well, the way to do it is they put one with water in it, then one with a sponge in it. So you dip the brush in the water, and then you get the excess water off on the sponge, and then you go proceed to the next color. But that little thing of water gets pretty muddy pretty quick. So I have muddy water and then another tub of water, clear water, so that doesn't get too dirty, and then do that. So then if, you know, whatever mediums you're using, whether it's little cups of paint or a palette of paint, the children will learn to have the opportunity of really being a little bit more creative than just mud. Now, you think you can do that when you're approaching creativity with watercolors? I beg of you, please do that. And that's how you can enhance children's creativity, by being a scaffold. Thank you for that question. Any other questions in relationship to creativity or out of your mind?
Control our students.
I come over there.
Creativity activities or that creative process, or should the teachers should control our students during that process? Or let them free to do what they want to do?
You have to repeat that to me again. Because I missed what you said when you introduced it.
I need to say it should have to control the activity first. When we are doing some activity to the children, we have to just let them free to do what they want to do. We have to control.
We have to control the children when they're doing something creative.
Be independent. We need to supervise them.
They said no.
We can extend their activity by providing them material when they are employed. I think that's personally.
Because if a child is...
Something of theirs, but if you recorded something of theirs, we are giving them the directions for them who are trying to get the directions are not stopping their creativity by how much they are there. We have facilitators actually. So it would be helpful. Actually, interaction while having activity is just to make them aware of their surroundings. I personally believe maybe when they are having an activity, they are uninformed from few things which can help them further to make their creativity more enhanced, which help them to enhance their creativity. And you can always interact with the children when they are trying something. We should have to learn that how to be a good partner while children are playing. Because if we are imposing something on them, so we are giving them a wrong message. Like what I have told you before, that maybe you are doing something wrong. Maybe the way that you have selected was not the way I wanted you to do. So let them try whatever they are trying.
What she wants to ask that should we interrupt that at that point to the child if